Welcome to Meaningful Activities to Generate Interesting Classrooms, Section 4, Part 2, Cooperative Learning. The next topic we are going to discuss is cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is another example of using multiple means of representation while involving students in double learning. The next activity is an example of students working in a cooperative group to provide information for the rest of the class. Please locate page 101, Cooperative Learning. When students develop informational packets, displays, or other presentations of knowledge, it requires students to delve deeper into content while researching and selecting the knowledge and information they want to share with others. Our next activity is an example of double learning because students are researching information, creating a display, and imparting information while working in cooperative groups. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 2, 13 Colonies Display for the revised activity directions. Previously, you were put in colony groups and assigned a colony for an informational display. You were asked to bring items or pictures that were a metaphor for something about your colony that you could use as clues that reveal a piece of information about your colony. You were given information about the colonies on pages 102 through 107. Next, take a moment to review your presentation to ensure all components are complete. In your cooperative group, use your colony presentation to share the items you have brought and what they represent. Add any items you deem necessary to enhance your display. Remember to keep the number of clues you display to no more than 7, so be selective in the clues you display. Reveal your colony on the last slide of your presentation. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 2, 13 Colonies Display for additional revised activity directions. Since our course is remote, the activity directions had to be slightly revised. Please do your best to disguise which colony is yours until the end. You will now visit each presentation to read more about the 13 colonies. Use the 13 colonies information on page 102 through 107 to assist your exploration. On the very last slide of the presentation, please reveal your colony. What insights emerged about multiple pathways to learning as it relates to this activity? The goal of this activity was to impart information. What insights emerged for you? Did you enjoy the mystery element of this activity and guessing which colony was which? Did you enjoy coming up with clues and items that metaphorically represented aspects of the colony? Did you feel like you brought the information to life and made it real? Did you like that you were able to work in cooperative groups? Did you feel anxious about coming up with the ideas on your own? How could you adapt this activity if you did it face to face? Could students put their collected items in a packet, a bag, envelope, or baggie? Could students then pass the packets, remove the contents, and guess? If you do this, it eliminates the movement. Later in the course, we are going to discuss the importance of movement in hands-on activities. Could students create demonstrations or PowerPoints on a particular topic? What curriculum-related topic would lend itself to cooperative learning where students develop informational packets, displays, or presentations? Could students gather clues about writers, musicians, artists, or celebrities, different states or countries, historical figures or events? Could students make bags about different books they have read, which they then share in order to interest other students in the books? After reading stories, groups could be assigned different stories or characters and make informational displays. The class could guess which stories or characters the clues represent. In science, could displays be created of rocks or any other item that is classified? Could students identify the classes or categories? Could students gather items about themselves, and you could use them as a team builder activity? Could students display word problems in math with real items or manipulatives that students would have to visit and solve? On appendix pages 5 through 15, you will find information about the Canadian provinces that you could use for a similar activity. Please take a moment to review the activity assets on page 110 to debrief this activity. Remember, cooperative learning and informational displays or packets require students to delve deeper into the content. Students examine the information when creating the displays or packets and examine the information again when guessing. If a person can remember even one clue about the display, it might be enough to trigger their recall of the rest of the information. The information is more likely to be retained because the activity is fun and memorable. It creates a memory hook for the information. If you had read the information or heard a lecture, you probably would not recall as many details. It is also a good way to involve parents in the topic of study, as students search for items at home and discuss the items as the curriculum ensues. You can also make the activity as sophisticated as you wish, depending on the features you add to the activity. This concludes Section 4, Part 2, Cooperative Learning. Please continue to Modules Section 4, Part 2, Positioning Activities Informational, Classroom and Reflection Connections.